Beware of spoilers, you have been warned.
After spending several months in a safe Tomlet bubble on Instagram, learning the entire plot along the way, my first real watch-through of Succession was so much better, and I am here to ramble about it. I mean, literally, starting with episode 1, every great pilot establishes characters, lays the path of every arc ever. The Succession pilot definitely did this. Seeing Kendall in the very first episode knowing how his story ends is heartbreaking. He was groomed by Logan, prepared by himself, his whole life dedicated to being the next CEO of Waystar. We hear mentions of rehab and addiction issues. We see his situation with his kids and ex-wife. It was already such a bad start, and every scene of his is heartbreaking. The baseball game was very important because they're all assholes, and that's all you need to know about every character ever. Not a single character is meant to be likable. They are all sociopathic, narcissistic, morally disgusting bitches. You know you've sold your soul when you can name a single favorite character, and I'm including Greg in that. Tom and Greg being a highlight from day one is wild. Like, I can't believe their first scene is Tom jokingly asking him to kiss him. Like, did the writers know what they were doing there? In the pilot, we get a pretty solid glimpse of the brothers, but we only saw Shiv at the surface. She comes across as a normal person, she seems like a decent sister and girlfriend, is emotional when Logan is down. She just seems like the least worst person there, ironically considering she is honestly one of the most emotionally cruel two-faced bitch person around. So, yeah. Something I want to point out about the soundtrack of the entire series that I want you to keep in mind as you go through the series from the pilot all the way to the finale, but the same like 5 tracks plays throughout the series, and having watched the series finale and going back to the pilot episode, like, certain songs from the series finale played during the pilot episode, and I could visualize the finale while also watching the moment in the pilot and seeing point A to B like simultaneously in my mind. It's just honestly a little overwhelming just knowing what all happens in between. Watching the pilot, because of the music, it all hits all at once, and it makes the pilot just so much better somehow. Like, it, like when you watch it more like for the second time, it hits different because you know what happens, and suddenly the pilot has a different meaning than it did from when you first saw it, and that's just brilliance. Alright, getting into season 1 proper, Greg and Tom are such leeches. They are so alike in so many ways. Two socially awkward dudes trying to wiggle their way into the family narrative for money and status. Neither come from money, and low-key, everybody hates them.
I mean, I feel like I might not like it in the death pit.
This is the beginning of the end. The blood pact with Greg, the legal atrocity that pushes Tom to the top. These two became intertwined forever. It's so interesting seeing Tom and Greg both struggle with more dilemmas here at the beginning while the Roy family just does not. We proceed to see them ignore their moral compass in order to get ahead and fit in with the family. They basically do the if you can't beat them, join them tactic, and then they eventually beat them anyways. The two outsiders that were the laughingstock of the family end up beating the family. And that it's seeing the beginning of that is so great. Like, I hope no one was confused about the series finale. Like, it was literally written from the start, bro. Let's talk about the press conference leak situation. Tom only told Greg and Shiv. One told Jerry. Tom confronts Greg, who denies the accusations. Thus begins the downfall of Tom and Shiv and the rise of the Holy Tomlet. The genius is that Greg was the one that actually told, yet Tom immediately trusted Greg and felt sus towards Shiv. Ironically, she has yet to earn such suspicion other than the fact that she comes from a family of privileged assholes. Greg grew up out of all of that, so maybe that's why Tom instinctively trusted Greg, whom he's only known for like 3 days, a judgment solely based on their upbringings.
Oh my God, you just touched me, Greg.
Tom, I'm sorry. Your spittle was actually like...
This is extraordinary. What are you going to do about this? Is this assault's going to be ongoing?
And just like that, it took 4 episodes for Greg to be the most dangerous player in this Game of Thrones. Now, I know I'm supposed to hate Shiv, especially through seasons 2 and 3, but I love her. And I don't know why. Maybe this validates Tom and why he sticks with her in the end. She's just a very well-written character that no one really seems to deep dive into. Like, they just look at her and hate her, but they don't really try to get into the mind of her and explain her. Like, she's the Snape. Siobhan Roy is the Severus Snape of the series, and Snape is my favorite character in Harry Potter, so that might also kind of explain my adoration for the character. Like, I could write, like, 10-page theses about both characters. Like, I'm being so for real. Maybe that's why I love Shiv so much and defend her, even when she's, like, at her worst moments. The thing about Shiv is that she is the master of faking it. I mean, Roman said as much at some point. The correct way to describe Shiv is emotionally guarded. She pretends everything is fine. She refuses to show or feel her own emotions because she knows that to be a weakness because of her dad. She attempts to remain emotionally detached from everyone, which effectively begins to ruin her marriage before it even starts. I mean, look at her parents, look at her brothers. It doesn't take a genius to understand how she became this way. I also want you to consider her point of view when she starts fooling around with Nate. She believes that Tom just wants her for her money and family status. Her political clients keep trying to get to use her for her connection with her dad's news. How can she ever believe anyone wants her for her when Nate is the only one that's like, bro, you're hot, I'd want you. He's the only one that doesn't make her feel disappointed, and he's easy for her to control. Something else I want to point out for the series is that Rome and Shiv have always been on the same wavelength, like the whole time. Like all of the first season, I can only think of one instance where she acted against him. They are siblings, besties, everything in between. Love their jokes in the therapy episode. Like, they're so fucked up and they know it. Also, Connor is just so funny to me. Like, he's so out of the family, but is also Logan's son through and through. Like, he just fits right in, even though you're constantly asking, why are you here? I also always love it when Jerry's around. She's literally the smartest one in the company. She would have been a kick-ass CEO, so at least Tom keeps her in the inner circle when he steps up later. Kendall and Roman running the company while Logan is gone is basically what would have happened if Tom didn't win the way he did. They are not serious people. Nepo babies are never given respect, and they're constantly told why, even by Logan himself. However, Kendall was at least actually trying and genuinely cared. There were several instances where he had good ideas and his interests were usually for what was best for the company. The vote of confidence was major. Kendall had a point. He was right. It was heartbreaking. He struggled between loyalty and admiration of his father and the best interest of the company. The vote was a tie, and Roman was the tiebreaker, but Roman was too scared to vote against his own father. Kendall lost, and it was because of the vote of a sibling. Sit on that for a second. A few of the notable episodes of the first season were the Thanksgiving episode, the pretend therapy session episode, and of course, Succession wedding episodes always bring the tea. I definitely wanted to note Kendall saying at some point, Shiv, maybe you wouldn't be the favorite if you gave the company to non-family. Comments like that in the earliest episodes send me. Crazy how Kendall tried to sell the company outside the family episodes later within the same season, and then the way he is so against it when Logan wants to sell to Gojo 2 seasons later, like, it's all so twisted. Everyone is fighting for money. Everyone is fighting for power. Everyone is fighting for control. Everyone is fighting for Logan's approval while also fighting to beat Logan at his own game, to be his equal or to be better than him. They're all at each other's throats. They all betray each other, mistrust each other, use and abuse each other, and no one is winning. No one ever wins, except Logan. And that's it. That is Succession.
Buckle up, fucklehead.
We end the season with a car accident, a very heavy series of events to watch that just feels heartbreaking when Kendall returns to the party like nothing happened and dances with his kids. But then he's confronted later, and it's Logan who somehow wins a situation that did not need to be won. That's how it always happens, I guess. This pattern will continue as the clusterfuck that is the Roy family continues down a spiral of doom and depression. Succession! Season 2! Kendall returns as Logan's obedient little boy because what other option does he have?
Ah, how the mighty are fallen.
Roman isn't wrong. The fall of Kendall, the return of Logan, like, this dude is far from his aneurysm. This man has recovered and is striking the fear of God in everyone, and he is God. The irony! I just need to talk about how in the first season it was established that Shiv and Tom had this arrangement, which is why their marriage was kind of more of a contract than anything. Shiv was originally supposed to run around with her politics and whatever, her career outside of the company. She didn't have any interest in the company. She hated her family. She hated her dad, even though she wanted him to love her, blah, 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 whatever. And Tom was originally planned to be the new CEO under Shiv's grand plan. She wanted to help him rise up the company to become CEO anyways. So it's kind of ironic how that ended up happening in the end anyways, but also it kind of adds a lot of conflict when Logan walks up to Shiv and says, "Yo, you're next. You're the next CEO. Throw away your political career. Stop using your political allies to go against me and my ATN and my company and join me." He was tired of Shiv getting up all on his grill, so he dangled this carrot in front of her and said, "Join me," and she said, "Oh my god, does this mean you love me now? I'll join you, I'll do whatever you say, I'll do whatever I can to get your approval." And that ruins her relationship with her brothers, that ruins her marriage with Tom. I mean, it's crazy. Like, I just don't see this on Reddit enough. Like, this is the moment where Shiv became the most ultimate two-faced bitch in the series. Like, this is the moment that ruined everything. And not enough people, I don't think, talk about it. So I'm here to tell you. Watching the kids, like, not just Shiv, but the brothers as well, watching them in season 2 is so depressing because the manipulation is astronomical. They can argue anyone down, except Logan. He always wins. We already know how terrifying Logan can be. He slapped his grandson, bitch slapped his own kid. I feel like we've heard stories about other beatings against Roman. He also holds a lot of power over a lot of people, knows their weakness, and knows how to use that against them. Caroline, on the other hand, is just an absent mother. Not really the best balance to Logan. The way Kendall went for her for help and she literally abandoned him immediately, like overnight while he was sleeping in her house, like, that was just heartbreaking. She just shows no signs of empathy. I can imagine she involved the kids in the divorce somehow, like trying to use them in a competition against Logan. Like, you know how those kind of divorces can be. This season, we see Tom at the head of ATN. He's a whole new man. He's still a buffoon. I mean, seasons 1 and 2, Tom had that clown energy for real. And then he just decides to bring Greg along. And at some point, Greg is actually given a way out. But I think Greg is, like, too enticed with the Roy family and money and everything. Like, I guess that's why he decides to stay. But the Tom and Greg dynamic is definitely in full swing in this season, and it is so fun to see. Like, season 2, the writers were like, yeah, Tom and Greg are onto something. And we got some amazing scenes.
Kind of against my principles.
Your principles? Craig, don't be an asshole. You don't have principles.
Like, what's his competency? Is he nice?
Is he nice? You're asking about the moral character of a man named Ratfucker Sam? We here for you. We here for you, man, because you don't need to hear. We here.
Yeah, we.
And also, we here for you.
It's good because it's like, it's not clear exactly what the hell it means. Look, the actual envelope says receipts.
Ooh, but they're not, in fact, receipts. Craig, you're a criminal mastermind.
And always remember,
You can't make a Tomlet without breaking some Gregs.
Connor Roy was interested in politics at a very young age. Some notable episodes of season 2 include the Hungary retreats.
Board on the floor. Kendall, ring the troops. Board on the floor.
Hilarious and intense all at once.
I will win.
Brian's line delivery there shook us all to the core. That is Logan Roy. The safe room? Oh, one of my favorite episodes of the series. Like, it's the most chaotic episode. Like, there's just a lot going on here. And so many iconic lines and moments that I knew before, but had no idea that they were from that episode. Roman doing management program and cussing people out in the turkey costume. Kendall's iconic shots of him standing, being super depressed on the glass balcony. Shiv's first day in the office.
He's doing vape fluid? What? He could buy the entire industry.
Connor going to Mo's funeral, dropping the Lester lore.
Connor Roy was interested in politics at a very young age.
But the safe room episode ultimately belonged to our golden boys. Tom interviewing Ravenhead, Tom and Greg panicking after the shooting. Tom was like, they're coming after me, while it was just a suicide.
Oh, dude. If it's true, he's gone. I mean, Nazis, terrible, right?
Nazis? And a person can fit through there. A person can definitely fit through that window. A small person, an attack child.
Okay.
I will not let you do this to me. I will not let go of what is mine.
Like, mention those to you now?
Are you asking if you can blackmail me?
Tom and Greg showed us all why they were everyone's favorite characters in this episode. The dinner with the Pierces episode is also very intense. Like, we all knew they hated each other, and you kind of felt that in the air. There was also that moment where Logan bitch slapped Roman, and when I wrote my blog about season 2, I kind of deep dived into what this moment really meant for the characters and what it revealed about the characters as well. The Dundee, I think that's the title, the Dundee episode where they go back to Logan's hometown. I mean, I love that episode for many reasons, but I think the reason why you love that episode is for one reason.
L to the OG.
I know you do. After trying to push away and hide from the cruises scandal, the unavoidable consequences are quite literally here to sink the ship. The whole situation has series-wide consequences. Hugo volunteering Jerry and Tom to testify. I mean, even with the Dream Team, it was a shit show. Incredible entertainment. Tom and Greg's testimonies are literally in the top 3 most iconic moments in the entire series.
If it is to be said, so it is.
And this episode also saw Kendall, like, at his best. Like, he has a lot of low moments and a lot of high moments. And the thing about Kendall is that even during his high moments, you know it's a temporary state. And it just kind of makes you sad of thinking about the potential that he had. Like, when he was at the top of his game, he was great. But it was never, ever going to last, and I'm sure I'll bring this back up again, especially as we get into season 4. The Death Cruise episode was also, like, crazy. A lot happened, a lot went down. I think that the Tom and Shiv scene on the beach is wildly discussed. This is Tom probably being the most honest he's been to Shiv pretty much in the series so far. He's open and honest about his feelings. He condemns her for her stupid open relationship idea that she brought up on their wedding night. He says that he's unhappy, and Shiv is, of course, very hard to read. Shiv is definitely a if you can't handle me, then leave kind of person. Tom is not going anywhere.
I tried playing with you. You broke.
That will always be the difference between Tom and people like Nate. Tom never breaks. It's curious because Shiv did feel bad for what Tom was saying, but does she feel bad for Tom or feel bad because she's an awful person? Shiv convinced Logan to not use Tom as the scapegoat, but did she do that because she wants to protect Tom, or is this her way of trying to redeem herself for making Tom so unhappy? I could honestly say both for each question. Season 2 started and ended with a Kendall Prince conference. They are not the same. Kendall willingly agreed to be the face of the scandal because Daddy asked. But when Logan was honest with Kendall about whether or not he would be a good CEO, this is exactly what happens to Tom a season later. You push and push and push and push, and soon they will fall. Logan pushing Kendall, Shiv pushing Tom. At some point, the dog will bite back, and we just saw Kendall bite. Tom and Greg are screwed, Shiv and Roman are scared, and Logan, actually, a proud father.
So for this movie of the week thing, I'm actually going to do the entire John Wick trilogy, as I watched all 3 of them recently and enjoyed all of them, and I think I'm just going to talk about all of them right here, right now. So starting with John Wick, the first movie. First of all, the cast. Of course, Keanu Reeves is the heart and soul of the film, but we also have talent from Willem Dafoe, Ali Alfin, Adrian Palicki, Ian McShane, and Lance Reddick. All very talented, but I gotta hand it to Keanu. There was actually a scene where he made me emotional. His line delivery just caught me off guard, and I can't say I've shed a tear for Keanu's performance before now, but he did such a great job. The concept is really cool. Any sort of assassin or secret agent premise is pretty solid in my eyes. John Wick is thankfully one of the many takes on the idea that didn't fall through and had a solid execution as well. It really throws you off given how John Wick throws himself back into the Assassin's Creed. Not only do you not expect it, but it's unnecessarily tragic. Let's just say that next time I get on The Sims 4, I'm going to create John Wick and give him all the dogs he deserves. I really enjoyed the fighting sequences. That very first big one in the house was iconic. They're all very well choreographed and believable to some extent. It also looks like Keanu did a lot of his own stunts. It actually looks like him a lot of the time. It's not just some crazy motion blurring a stunt double or something. It actually looks like he did some of the fighting, which I think is pretty cool. Alright, the sequel. Spoiler alert, Keanu's new dog lives to the end of this movie. No tragic deaths worth mentioning here. What I liked most about the sequel is that it expanded on the Assassin's Creed concept. Not only did we learn a bit more about laws and customs, but it also laid down the path for consequences further down the road. Pacing was better in John Wick 2 than the first, but that's not to say that the first pacing was bad. I just felt that things were moving quicker and a lot was going on. I just remember seeing that I was 2/3 through the film, but I felt like we were less than half. Time was just zooming. I really hated the villain though. He was such a jerk, but not in a good villain way. He made Wick kill his sister and then set him up to be a fugitive. That was so unfair, but as much as I found it annoying, it did set up the third pretty well. And now John Wick 3, Parabellum, the birth of a franchise. It was all about consequences, again, but whatever the story may be, the action of this installment was just so much fun. The first act alone was so action-packed as John Wick was on the run. The knife fight went straight into the horse segment, and that 10 minutes was a blast. Also, that motorcycle segment towards the end was cool too. Real Final Fantasy VII Remake vibes. The final fight in the hotel was awesome too, as an all-out war was ensued through this epic climax. Also, it turns out that this is not so much of a trilogy anymore. The third film ends with more left to be done, and apparently the fourth film will be out before we know it, and I'm definitely going to see it in theaters. These films are genuinely fun, and Keanu Reeves can do no wrong. And yes, I did have PTSD when the dog was shot, but at least no dogs were harmed, and I hope that trend continues. Now, John Wick 4 came out a month ago, and I saw it opening night. I'm just gonna come out and say it. John Wick died. So I just want to reiterate that it feels like the John Wick saga was meant to be a trilogy, especially given the time span between 1, 2, and 3. So this means this fourth film is the chapter we weren't supposed to have, but we got anyways. And that's great. Keanu Reeves and Chad Stahelski just did something right. With an extra movie, we were given a deeper glimpse into the unique lore of this super cool secret assassin society, which I loved, and every major fight sequence seemed different. This movie in particular had the coolest sequence with that overhead angle one-shot, the car chase, iconic, the stair battle, iconic. And I love how it looks like Keanu's acting through all the fight scenes. Maybe just not doing all the crazy stunts, but he's doing the fighting, guys. This dude. I just feel his passion. And that's why the ending is so bittersweet to me. I'd love to see more in John Wick, but John is finally a free man and deserved peace. Absolutely. It's just been great seeing Keanu make such an impact with these movies. They're all enjoyable to watch and entertaining at that. Action movies can get bland real easily, but this series failed in doing that. There was a solid story with interesting characters supporting this epic tale of John Wick. I will definitely have marathons for years to come. And I'm looking for what else Keanu has in store next. This guy just can't do anything wrong.
Game of the week? Still not Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, but next time for sure. Now, I just want to say, while Ghost of Tsushima may not be your favorite game, to me, it's been the pinnacle of Japanese samurai games for like 5 years, and I'm so beyond excited for the Ghost of Yotai. Any other historical Japanese games that have released since, I'm always like, meh, Tsushima is GOAT. Tsushima is objectively a great game, but I'm pretty biased when it comes to other games like it. So, my opinion of Rise of Ronin is not superb. I think it's a cool time period. The glider feature is cool, but outside of this, I don't know. Specifying on the time period, this is set in the 19th century. While you can wield a katana and bow and arrow, you also have a gun, which makes for unique and fun gameplay. There's also a your choice matters aspect to this game, but like, you're supposed to choose which opposing factions you belong to, but you ally with both anyways, so not sure why the game tries to make a big deal of it. There's also a detailed character creation at the start, another weird part of this RPG style of game, because you just pull an Assassin's Creed Odyssey and you play as one sibling while the other is basically the villain. Also, going back to Tsushima, I just felt more connection to the NPCs in that game. I think Ronin only had like one NPC I was excited to ever see. Everyone else was just so forgettable, while the NPCs of Tsushima had fleshed out stories and unique skill sets and personalities. Ronin kinda has this too, but the Tsushima party was just more memorable just to me. Overall, it's not bad by any means. There is an audience for this game, I'm just not a part of it. Dev Patel is an actor I've sorta been swooning over since middle school. To this day, he's an actor I enjoy watching very much, and yeah, I still find him easy on the eyes. Dev Patel was born and raised near London. Both of his parents were born and raised in Indian communities in Kenya before immigrating to the UK, which I'm pretty sure is the same trajectory as Freddie Mercury's parents. Like, Freddie was born in Zanzibar, of all places. Growing up a fan of action films, Dev studied Taekwondo through childhood, active in martial arts competitions, and earning his first Dan black belt as a teenager. He got into theater in high school and was already getting opportunities on television when he starred in 18 episodes of the show Skins while he was still in school. His career started with the phenomenal film Slumdog Millionaire. This remains to be one of my favorite films of all time. Dev was nominated for a BAFTA for his role, with the film itself receiving a bunch of Academy Awards, including Best Picture. Obviously, this put Dev Patel in the spotlight, and what better opportunity could you get right after starting your career with a legendary start? The Last Airbender. Yes, Dev Patel portrayed Zuko in the first attempt of a Last Airbender live-action adaptation. Dev did everything he could with what he had. I'll give him that much. Dev Patel would star in the Best Exotic Marigold Hotel as well as its sequel. Just Dev Patel and a bunch of elderly British icons in this random-ass hotel in India. These movies are actually pretty good. Some of his other early films include About Cherry, The Road Within, Chappie, and The Man Who Knew Infinity. He was also in the main cast of the show The Newsroom for 3 seasons. He's dabbled in voice acting, being a part of the English dub casts for I Lost My Body and Ghibli's film Only Yesterday. Dev Patel portrayed Saru in the film Lion, a film about how an Indian boy was separated from his family, given up to adoption, and then tried to find his real family many years later. This role earned him Oscar, BAFTA, and Golden Globe nominations. Some of his latest films include The Wedding Guest, Poison, The Green Knight, and The Personal History of David Copperfield. Another great film was Hotel Mumbai, an intense action film about a hotel overrun by terrorists. One of Dev Patel's latest endeavors put him in the writer's room and director's chair when he wrote, directed, and starred in his film The Monkey Man, which was essentially an Indian John Wick. I thought it was a solid film, not bad for a directorial debut. I will continue to follow Dev's career. He is an Indian-British icon. My vote for the next James Bond. He just has to be British, right? Monkey Man was his audition. I'd watch the hell out of his Bond films. But whatever he does, I'll be right there.
That's it for this week. Be sure to follow this podcast and please follow my Twitter and blog at Hollis Films to follow my journey experiencing the entertainment industry's greatest stories. And let me know what you've been fangirling over this week. Thank you for joining me, and I'll talk to you again next week.